So what did you do before you started this project? You went to school at MIT.
Yeah, MIT undergraduate.
The Beaver.
Then back for business school, Brown University and Harvard. I was actually a PhD student at Brown, but I dropped out during the dot-com boom and started a company called Turbine. Turbine's now the largest computer games company in New England. I don't work there anymore. I have a new startup now. But I try to make my new startup, it's good being your own boss. I try to craft that so that I can have as much free time to do fun hobbies as I want. So in addition to the wheel, I also, for example, run a blog on fun events in New England. I try to list all the haunted houses you can visit during October, for example. I have the largest list of outdoor movies and outdoor concerts in New England. I track over 100 outdoor concert series. So it's also a big hobby, also not money making, but sooner or later I'll transform this project into one that's more healthy for me to invest time into, I hope. And the idea of the installation is that it should attract attention from a distance, like what is that? It shouldn't appear to be an information kiosk, it should appear to be something like artistic and worth approaching and looking at. And then it's supposed to give you a sense of peace. The installation is called the wheel because there's a central drum, kind of like a Tibetan prayer wheel, that turns as an upright cylinder that spins, on which the cards are hung. And then the space is divided into quadrants. And each quadrant has a partition. The partition areas, the quadrants, are big enough for two people to share the experience, but often to have a little bit of privacy, so that you can really have some time to think, like some mental space while you're there. But the whole thing is translucent, it lets in light, unlike last year's installation, which I thought should be kind of like a secular church. It was kind of dark and kind of sequestered. This year's installation is a lot more open, but still gives you a feeling of a bit of privacy. I'm just really surprised and pleased that people ask good questions. I didn't know at first if they would ask questions that were worth answering. There's elves to answer the questions for me. I wouldn't trust the elves though, because they'd always write like, you know, come free us from the North Pole. No elves, just me.
Makes sense. Cool.
This is great.
Look at this, I can do this.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. For the ages.
That's right, for posterity. One day your grandchildren will look back on this recording.
Stay in school! I broke my arm 2 weeks ago right here in front of the wheel. As you can see, there's a canopy over the wheel, and it's supposed to keep rain out. Unfortunately, the original canopy doesn't work very well, so I've attached this extra material to cover the holes. And a lot of moving the wheel from place to place requires standing on a ladder. I had just been at the Boston Green Festival, and I was moving the wheel back here to Harvard Square, and I was standing on the top rung of the ladder, kind of the top where it says, "Do not stand, danger," and I fell as I was trying to attach to the canopy. And you know how when you fall, you put your hands out to stop your fall? Well, I put my wrist out, and I landed right on my wrist. So I saved my neck, I saved my back, but yeah, the wrist just was mangled. So I broke both arm bones, I was rushed to the hospital, and now I type with one hand. I still type pretty well one-handed. Yeah, the canopy's doing pretty well. So when I fell off the ladder, a crowd gathered, and I basically started commanding orders to the crowd, like to take all my tools and move them to Bertucci's, which is very kind to me, to sort of store some of my stuff. It's fun, like when you're injured, you can tell strangers to do things. I like that.
What has doing this project taught you? I like that question.
So what does this project made me learn about life? I guess it's made me learn that volunteerism is hard to attract. I get a lot of people who write me through the wheel, or drop me an email and they say, you know, this is interesting, I'd like to help out, will you marry me, I'd love to contribute money to the project, but these things sometimes don't work out. And I'm trying to figure out, like, is there something wrong with how I'm saying it? Or is it just that people are busy and I've got to rely on only about 1/5 of the volunteers showing up? So I guess I'm still learning that one. If I can't, like, have new experiences, it's definitely too much work. I definitely could not do this again, like, the same way next year, unless I got funding or just made it bigger somehow. So I think I've learned that when you try to love the community that responds is diverse. And some people will respond by loving you back, and others will not. And there's no way to separate that. If you're going to interact with the community, you will always have to deal with the crazy people. There's no way to segment that. And when I meet people in person, it just really warms my heart. Boy, that sounds really sappy, but it does warm my heart to meet people who care. And I guess, this is a little secret, even the crazy people, even though they're being negative, they care.
I think that's true. Yeah.